Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Watching the Oreo, watching the Oreo, watching the Oreo, watching the Oreo.
Welcome back to Bird's Eye View. When it comes to the Orioles, this weekly podcast is your official source for a lack of insight and for baseless opinion. Today is March 26, 2025. This is episode 402. My name is Jake English.
And I'm Scott Magnus.
And on this week's show, we'll prepare for our 14th season of podcasting about these Baltimore Orioles.
We'll also question if things are not as bad as we think they are. But Orioles baseball, about this country, we'll find out.
When have we ever been negative?
When have we ever been negative? I guess we'll do that right after we lubricate the show. It's time for the drink of the week.
Scotty, what are you drinking this week?
Jake, I am doing a other half Green City double dry hopped hazy India Pale Ale. Originates out of Brooklyn, New York. Not bad.
I've had this beverage. It's okay.
Not bad. Not great, but not bad. I give it a solid 3.75 out of 5.
Fair enough. I will say that when it comes to grading the beers on the Untapped,
Yeah.
I've realized that my grading scale was very harsh in like the first couple of years that I did that.
What?
Yeah. So now I don't even know what it is that I'm grading.
What is a 4 to Jake English?
What is a 4 to Jake English? That's a good
Yeah.
question. Scott, I'm in the mood.
Mm.
Tomorrow is opening day.
Mhm.
Well, tomorrow is the first day of the season.
Yeah.
Baseball season starts tomorrow. I'm in the mood. I'm drinking nothing but summer drinks. Scotty, I brought myself a Bud Light Lime,
Okay.
just to spite you. I am drinking a Devil's Backbone Grapefruit Smash.
Okay.
I'm doing all of the summer beers. I'm doing all of the summer drinks. And Scott, a memory came to my phone today, which made me start itching for orange rummy bears. We're going to do it all this week.
All right. Sounds good. Do you enjoy the Devil's Backbone?
I do.
Okay. I do as well. It pains me sometimes to drink it and think this is an InBev product. But yeah, it's fine. Like it's a good. I was first introduced to it at Camden Yards, and now I don't really get it at the store per se. But if I'm at Camden Yards and I see it there, I'm like, that might be a nice little thing to drink at the stadium.
And that's the call here. And frankly, I prefer the grapefruit to anything else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. All right. With that, let's go ahead and dabble into the long medical wing.
I'm gonna check your ears, check your eyes, find out how much you've grown. Time for your checkup.
Gonna listen to your heartbeat, fix you up, ready to go.
Time for your checkup. It's okay if you giggle.
This will only tickle a little.
Time for your checkup. Time for your checkup.
at some point we're going to figure out what we have to do once we get the C&D from Disney. I mean, it's been years at this point.
I don't think it's going to happen.
That show is off the air, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
It's off the air. It's in syndication. It's on Disney Plus.
So you think we're in the clear?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's about a little African American girl who wants to be a doctor. I mean, what could go wrong? I mean,
It's not where I thought this was going.
it's going to get dark this year on Bird's Eye View.
I tell you what, if we get a C&D, it'll have to be the theme song to Hacksaw Ridge, okay?
That's fine. That's fine.
So there is stuff going on in the medical wing. Welcome to Bird's Eye View. Let's start with Gunnar Henderson. He is still out with the ouchies.
Yeah.
He's going to start the season on the IL, right intercostal strain, back later.
Yeah, it looks like he is in essence practicing down in Sarasota. He's getting his swings in. He's on the field practicing. Michael Ice has come back and said that, days as opposed to weeks. So I think he's got to be out through the entire Blue Jays series and that first 2 games against the Red Sox at home. I'll be very interested to see when they slot him back in. I mean, I would assume, just looking at how things work, that they would want to potentially try to get him back for the Kansas City series before they head out that way. But we'll see, is the best way to put it.
Is it possible that he's going to spend that time getting in the best shape of his life?
So I'm actually interested in this. I'm glad you brought this up. My question is, do we think he's going to stay in Sarasota and in essence hit around the backfields and do extended spring training? Or do we think he is going to go to Norfolk and play at Norfolk against, I think they're playing against Durham at Norfolk. So I think that'll give us a lot of indication about how Baltimore bound he is, because if he's just going to go to Kansas City immediately, I would expect him just to stay at Sarasota. But if he's potentially Baltimore bound for that last game, then I would assume that he potentially might play in Norfolk on that basis.
I can't imagine leaving the facility at Sarasota for any reason. He's comfortable there. They can control the environment, and I don't mean the temperature. They can control what happens. I think he stays there until he's Baltimore bound.
Yeah, because the only question is, like, do you think offering real life pitching in a real game offers him any benefits?
I mean, if he's not going to face major league hitting anyway, he can face whatever they've got down there in extended spring training.
I'm not arguing that. I completely agree. I just think it'll be interesting to see what they do. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter one way or the other.
We try to read the tea leaves no matter what they say.
Yeah. Take the next one.
Grayson Rodriguez has maybe right elbow inflammation, or maybe it's the triceps. Or
something else?
Something else. He's TBD for his return, but he will be going with the team to Toronto, and that means to me, I don't know what that means to me.
You think it's weird? Like, he's just going to throw bullpen sessions. Like, why would you not leave him in Sarasota? Like, why are you flying him to Toronto on this basis? Like, I completely understand if they want to bring him up to, like, Baltimore for opening day, have him run down the orange carpet, be part of the festivities, but why are you dragging him to Toronto for a 4-game series just for him to sit there?
And I can't decide if I think that's a better sign or a worse sign. Like, I don't
think it matters at all, because it's the standpoint of, like, he's got to rebuild everything that he lost during spring training. So he's going to be out for a minimum of 6 weeks, probably 8 weeks.
Listen, Scotty, he's a big fan of poutine.
Okay.
He's going to go up there. He's going to take care of things. He's going to root on Ryan Mountcastle, which is really the only thing that matters up there.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Okay, that's fine. It's just a weird move. That's all.
Okay, so both of those players, I would argue, matter.
You've got your best position player and theoretically your best pitching player.
Let's talk about a player that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Trevor Rogers. Right knee subluxation. His return is expected potentially April or May.
Don't care. Don't care.
There's no reason to rush him back.
Don't care whatsoever.
Hurt as long as he wants.
We'll get into this later on the point, but don't care. In fact, I don't even want to see Trevor Rogers on the medical wing going forward. I know we've been covering him. He's off the list.
Did he just get
Chris Jericho style? He's off the list.
Did he just get the Terrell Suggs treatment for the medical wing?
Yes, he's off the list.
All right.
Now the next guy I'm okay with kind of covering, Jorge Mateo. There is still a chance that he makes the roster. He was down in Sarasota today getting some workouts in, taking a few swings.
Now the beat writers say that they haven't seen a locker in Toronto with his name on it yet.
Yeah, but isn't that just like an aspect where you just pull one placard out and you put one placard in and be like, oh, this guy's here?
Yes.
So, like, is it that big of a deal?
Is anything
no
big a deal?
I don't think he makes. I don't think he gets up there to Toronto. I think, again, he's going to be on the IL.
He's not that big a fan of poutine.
Is it that big of a loss?
Let's put a pin in that.
Okay, we'll come back for that.
We're going to come back to
We'll come back for that. Emmanuel Rivera, left shoulder inflammation. He's out of options. This will extend the window before they have to expose him to waivers. I'm guessing in injury insurance policy?
Yeah, they're hanging on to him as long as possible without having to make a roster move.
Where does he play?
Somewhere?
First base?
Third base?
Kobe Mayo?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think they're just not making a move before they have to.
Yeah.
You know?
And then ending this off is people that are pretty much dead, and hopefully we see them at some point in the season. You've got Andrew Kittredge.
It's just a flesh wound?
You got Andrew Kittredge, who again has left knee debridement. He won't be back for months. You have Kyle Bradish, who had Tommy John surgery, who we've back maybe sometime during the second half, maybe. And then you got Tyler Wells, who had, again, a lesser Tommy John surgery for that UCL repair surgery with that brace. Potentially back by, maybe June. Maybe. So, yeah, that's the long and gory medical wing.
I just love the medical wing. I'm so glad it's back.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, let's go to the place that is not sad and where there is a lack of bots. And I don't get DM'd about meeting Asian chicks on various websites. Let's go to Blue Sky.
Our first
This week on the socials.
Are we calling them posts or are we calling them skeets? Where do you land on the post skeets divide?
I'm with the skeet mother.
All right. You're fully team skeet. I'm fine with that. Our first skeet comes from Jake Rill. Hashtag Orioles announced that Rule 5 draft selection right-handed pitcher Juan Nunez has cleared waivers and been returned from the San Diego Padres. He has been assigned to minor league camp. Look, that's fine. There are two interesting things that I want to talk about with this move. First is that the Orioles are getting one of the guys that left the organization through the Rule 5 draft back. He was the Orioles' number 8 prospect. And my question to you is this.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the Orioles' number 8 prospect because he's somebody worth watching? Or is he the Orioles' number 8 prospect because the Orioles sold off so many pieces to not advance very far in the 2023 and 2024 playoffs?
I think he's fine. I think he's a 4th or 5th starter.
Okay.
I don't think he's bad.
No, I'm not casting aspersions. I'm just trying to figure out.
He's a tier below Chase McDermott right now. That's fine.
Okay.
That's okay.
All right. Second thing I want to point out is this. He was not he's not a homegrown prospect. He was acquired in a deal with the Minnesota Twins for Jorge Lopez.
I remember that deal.
But the thing is that what else came back in that deal?
Okay.
We got the pitcher that is now the Orioles' number 8 prospect in the system. That's meaningful.
Yep.
Also in that deal, some other guy that doesn't matter, Yennier Cano and Cade Povich.
Yeah.
I had totally forgotten that was the haul for Jorge Lopez. And look, we are unapologetic.
I remember Buster Olney saying that's a terrible trade. The Orioles get an F for that trade. And I looked at that trade and I'm like, Yennier Cano is good enough. And then I know Povich came along with it too. And I think everyone was big on Povich at the time. I'd be like, he could turn into something. And he certainly has turned into something. So what a haul.
Has Cade Povich turned into something or has Slim become something?
It's a good question. Jake, what in the Georgia O'Keeffe is going on right now? This week, the Norfolk Tides.
No, this is the Chesapeake Bay Sox.
Oh, that was right. The Chesapeake Bay Sox, not the Norfolk Tides. The Chesapeake Bay Sox, which again is really weird. Chesapeake Bay Sox announced that they're going to have a new alternate logo that they're going to wear on special occasions. And they're going to be called the Oyster Catchers. And this skeet comes from Cody Tapp, and it's no way this new logo from the Chesapeake Oyster Catchers is an accident. And it is a ball strategically located in the correct position within the mitt per se, within an oyster shell.
I'm sorry, I'm having a difficult time finding it.
That's not abnormal for men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just flick it a little bit. Just flick.
The number of levels of approval that this had to go through, this could not have been an accident, right?
I think you're failing to realize like how maybe loosey-goosey minor league baseball is.
I get it. Somebody might have said, hey, we can get away with this and this is hilarious, but they didn't fail to see it.
I think there are organizations out there to go to random people, maybe in their late teens, early 20s and say, hey, we need you to develop a font and we're really not going to QA it very much.
Hey, I want to find the graphic designer responsible for this. The young person who toiled away for this. I'd like to buy that person a beverage of their choice. Look, this is fun. This is fun, and whether or not they thought they could get away with it and they didn't, whether they didn't realize what was going on, whatever the story was, the Chesapeake Bay Sox are now donating a certain percent. I think it's 10%.
10%.
To cervical cancer research. It's a happy story. Everything's good, but I'll tell you what, I want a hat with this logo.
Absolutely. It'll be the pearl of my eye.
What else is going on in Blue Sky?
The next one we'll go into to thine own self be true. This comes from Chirping Bird. Less than 24 hours away till we get to read each other's overly toxic post about the lineup and how the O's not getting a hit in the third inning means the season is over.
I feel personally attacked by this skeet.
Look, this is classic fandom. You're going to do this. It's okay. I think we see this enough during football season. Let's hope that maybe it isn't as vitriolic and personal attackish, but I give it until the third game at home before we start to see personal attacks.
Well, the the social media outlet of choice may also change the tenor of the conversation. But I will tell you, Scott, just to be pedantic about it, the Ravens never score by the third inning.
That's true.
Okay. That's a good point. Our next skeet comes to us from Carla 85. If Monday's home opener is rained out, what time are we thinking they play on Tuesday? Trying to figure some work stuff out. Lol. #Orioles. Okay. 2 reactions to this skeet.
Sure.
First of all, you shut your mouth when you're talking to me. We don't talk about rain and opening day. You don't do it. No, bad. Having said that, what happens if it rains on Monday?
We get moved to Tuesday and it's at 3:00, which I'm all for.
That's true. All right, let's cover it now.
Let's cover it now.
I would like to lodge a formal complaint.
We've discussed this before from an opening day standpoint. We're not going to get too far into opening day. But opening day, I always put in my time off.
It's a high holy day.
I literally put in for my time off. I am taking a religious holiday. And when my bosses see this and the pastor just like, what is it, an Orthodox holiday? Like, is this a Jewish holiday? And I was like, no, it's opening day. And they're like, oh, like, how is that a religious holiday? I was like, well, it's a joke, but to me, it's a religious holiday. So I had it in, it was approved. And then I was promptly told, hey, we've got a meeting you have to be part of. We can't approve that vacation day, which is the first time actually a vacation day has never been approved for me in my career. So I said, okay, like, is there any way that I can, like, it's a 2-day meeting. I was like, is there any way I can come up on Tuesday to cover my section and, like, miss out on Monday? No, you need to be there for both days. Okay, like, what time is it on Monday? It is from 2 to 5 on Monday. Awesome. So I don't get to see any of the baseball game until I get back to my hotel room, and I'm probably completely burned out. I was like, okay, cool. So the next day, like, what's the next day schedule? I'm like, it is 8 to 12 the next day. I'm like, why would we not just schedule it all day Monday or all day Tuesday? Like, why are we doing this split schedule thingy? Well, that's just what was convenient for everybody. It's not convenient for me. I'm everybody. Not convenient for me. So yeah, I promptly told my boss, like, hey, cool. Like, I will fall on the sword. I will not go to opening day for the first time in many a years is the best way to describe it.
This will be our first time not doing opening day together in like 12 years.
Yeah. And I said, okay, cool. Like, I won't go. I gave my tickets away. My son is going to go, and it's placed with some friends of ours. Awesome. Their son is going to go for the first time. Cool. Great. I always think it's great for people to experience opening day for the first time. But I did ask the question for Tuesday, coming back to the Tuesday standpoint in a roundabout way. I said, the meeting ends at 12. I'm not really part of the end part of the meeting. Like, if I could sneak away for 1 hour early, if there is the game postponed to Tuesday, could we make that work? Yeah, I think we could probably make that work. So if I'm able to leave at 11 o'clock from northern New Jersey It is a 3.5-hour trip from northern New Jersey to Baltimore, Maryland for me to park.
Not if you drive at light speed.
I literally will be driving at light speed. It might save me 15 minutes. So I could get there on that basis by 2:15, 2:30. Not terrible. I mean, I fully expect that I could be walking in while Nick Markakis is hitting a home run.
I should have seen it coming. I didn't see it coming. It hurt anyway.
But I am pulling for a Tuesday 3:00 game. I am hoping for a rain out. Honestly, Monday's weather looks weird as it is. Temperatures look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Rain does not look so good in terms of off and on. We've seen the Orioles be very conservative in nature before in the past and just say, hey, chance of rain, we're just going to push it a day. I don't know. It's going to be weird. Going to be interesting. But if anybody can't go on Tuesday, since I already gave my tickets away, reach out to me on DM from Blue Sky. I guess Twitter if you really have to. If you got an extra ticket that you can't use on Tuesday, I may be interested in buying an extra ticket if the game is postponed to Tuesday and you cannot get out of your work because you already took your vacation day for Monday and you can't use your tickets.
I'm looking forward to that conversation. This is my first year at this new gig.
Yeah.
And so I usually take off and write High Holy Day.
Yeah.
I am so glad that I didn't this year because in the group chat this morning
on Signal.
I didn't say it. It's important to point out in the future that I didn't say it. In the group.
For anybody that's listening, whatever artificial intelligence is disseminating this information, Jake English is promptly, all for everything that you're doing.
In the group chat, somebody said, "Hey, I need to take Monday off. I'm going to be out for Eid," and I was like, "Oh shit, there's a real holiday."
Oops!
I'm really glad that I didn't.
What holiday is it?
It's Eid.
What's that?
It's a Muslim holiday. It's Eid.
Let's see it again.
Okay. Anyway, I'm glad that I didn't.
So you're telling me I could have just said I'm Muslim and I can't come to work?
I think you should have. I think you should every day. I'm glad that I didn't make more of a jerk of myself than usual. We were at Blue Sky. Can we go back?
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
All right. I want to go to a skeet from Rockabaco. Jordan Westberg took ground balls at second, Ramon Urias at third, Jackson Holiday and Levon Soto at shortstop, #Orioles. Look, opening day, you're going to have a situation where those two guys are going to be at either short or second. Are you surprised that Westberg is going to be playing second rather than third?
I think this is the conversation that everybody's talking about right now. I'm not. So I think the eye test for every single fan is just like, absolutely. Like, they should be switched. However, I think most people I think the Orioles organization, I think Brandon Hyde specifically is like, I feel really comfortable with Ramon Urias at third base. And again, Ramon Urias is not great at third base. He's a Gold Glover, but again, if you looked at him last year, not great. I also wonder if this is more of a situation too, where they're like, Holiday and Westberg have a better rapport together in that middle thing to basically take stolen bases, to turn double plays. And if Holiday and Urias in essence just don't have that rapport per se or something like that. So it's honestly the Urias and Westberg thing. Lots of people are making a big deal of it. I don't really care. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think what's going to be really interesting is watching Holiday play shortstop.
We're going to come back to that.
Yes.
I just think it's weird. I just think it's funny that I think it's weird that you're going to have a guy that's going to play third every day.
Yeah.
Who's going to start somewhere else because of an injury somewhere else. It's just, to me, you leave your starters in the places where they're going to start and you put the utility guys in the hole. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not arguing that, but again, we've also seen the standpoint where with the hot corner before, like, okay, we're willing to move people off the hot corner to second base. So again, I'm not particularly bothered by it. I think let's just see what happens. Honestly, it's also a situation too. If Ramon Urias cannot play third base and it comes out to be really evident in this upcoming week,
what are we doing?
Yeah. Like, he can't be on the team. Like, you have to put somebody else there to basically play third base going forward. I think it's going to go okay. Like, I think this is the right move. I don't think it's a bad move. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but we'll see what happens.
I don't even think it matters. I just was surprised.
Yeah, I'm not shocked on the aspect because, like I said, Hyde has talked about Urias so many times about being a great third baseman.
You're not shocked to find the gambling is going on here?
No, not shocked at all. Shocked, sir. Shocked.
All right. Let's take a quick break, come back and go around the bases for the first week of the season. Well, Scott, surprise, surprise.
Really?
Well, we didn't think there would be that many surprises with the roster, and most questions were largely settled. In fact, we said that here on this podcast.
We said this is going to be a boring spring training, and in reality, besides some injuries, it was the case. It was a pretty boring spring training.
Absolutely was. But the injuries have happened.
Yep.
And they've created a few even mild surprises. So
yeah.
Let's talk about a few of those. First being Cade Povich makes the club.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a little bit of a surprise. Mainly of like when we started this, we said, oh, well, Povich will probably end up at Norfolk regardless. And if they need somebody, they'll put Suarez in there and give it to Cade Povich. He pitched his butt off. He pitched great. I mean, he obviously had a great end of the season last year in September. But he looked absolutely amazing in terms of swing miss aspect. He also looked great in terms of minimizing walks on that basis for the majority of spring training, which was the issue when he first came up in the league, which is he nibbled around the zone and we kept saying like, you have to throw strikes. You have to throw strikes. And he looks like a guy who's going out there and throwing strikes and getting whiffs. So, I mean, I think it's great. And I think it's also something that was kind of posted before on Blue Sky as well. Cade Povich needs to get into this rotation because, again, if you look at the rotation that you have as of right now, he's the only individual signed for 2026. Everybody else is on 1-year deals.
He's also the only lefty.
He's the only lefty. I mean, who cares about lefties, really? But, I mean, that's a whole nother matter.
I may be somewhat biased.
But again, you have to start building that foundation going forward of saying it's not just for this year, but it's for the next few years. So I think it's great. And like I said, Cade Povich deserves to be in the rotation. Albert Suarez did not have a great spring training. And again, he's in his mid-30s. It's a great opportunity for Povich to establish himself in the starting rotation, not as a top line starter, but as a 3, a 4, or even a 5 on that basis.
The thing that's interesting to me about Povich versus Suarez is that Suarez can do both, and Povich should only start. So you send Suarez to the bullpen, a place where I think he can be effective, and Povich clearly wouldn't have been. For me, this is great. I love it. I am surprised. I'm surprised to see that he got the home opener.
I'm a little surprised, but
not unpleasantly so either. Just surprised.
Again, it makes sense though. He's the 5th starter. It's the 5th game of the season. But yeah, that's quite the role to be given as your 5th, as you're kind of like, hey, welcome to the team. You get to have the home opener. So good for him. Big moment for him.
Yeah. All right. Next surprise on the list.
Yeah.
Kyle Gibson is back.
Gibby.
First, little business to take care of.
Sure.
Get this man a dong bong.
Absolutely.
Right now. So what's the deal with Kyle Gibson? Is it that someone is more hurt than we realize?
Okay.
Is it that the Orioles simply thought, hey, we need better depth than we've got? Is it that maybe they don't trust something they've seen in spring training? Or D, none of the above?
I think it's a depth signing. I think he's going to basically be, similar to Grayson, which is he's going to have to work for 4+ weeks to get up to speed. And I think it's fine. I mean, These things have a tendency to work out just like we saw for spring training. People are going to get injured. He's going to need to step in. He's going to need to pitch. I think it's fine. And I think Gibson knows that. I think Gibson's just like, I know what I was signed for. I'm familiar with this clubhouse. I know I'm not making a ton of money. But that familiarity and knowing that when I'm needed, I'll be called upon, I think is good enough for him.
So I'm on record for saying that I like Kyle Gibson.
Yeah.
He was a good dude.
Good community guy, like goes out and does plenty of community activities.
So I having acknowledged that bias, I'm going to say I like this move, but not because it's Kyle Gibson. I like this move because it addresses in a small way the thing that I have been griping about all the offseason, which is the margin of error is too thin.
Right.
And this move, at worst, you spend $5.5 million.
You just flush it down the drain.
And you waive him.
Yep.
If you don't need him.
Yep. It's insurance.
That is a great move. And look, I think as a addition to the roster, it's a D- at best. At the moment that they signed him, B- as far as what was available.
And again, we can get on the Orioles all day long about what they've done with signing players and everything on that basis. But again, we are not that far removed from the Orioles basically saying, Jonathan Villar, you're a great player, but we can't pay you $8 million a year. We're going to go ahead and non-tender you. So the Orioles have increased payroll. They're going out and putting these insurance policies out there for $5 million. I think Gibson will get onto the roster in some role or another. But like you said, if they don't, I think the Orioles are perfectly ready to be like, and we're going to go ahead and move on.
And there's no guarantee that come later in the season, Gibson won't say, okay, fine, I'll accept an assignment to the minors.
Sure.
Right? There's no guarantee. And there's no guarantee that we won't need him because somebody's hurt. And there's no guarantee that he won't say, yeah, you can stash me in the bullpen.
Yep. We'll see. But I think it's a great insurance standpoint for $5 million. It's like, okay, cool. Like, no issues.
And if you're going to do that, a great, veteran presence that only adds to the club.
Everybody knows him in the clubhouse. Everything is great on this basis. Cool. Awesome. No issues whatsoever. All right. Next one. I talked about this earlier. So Jackson Holliday is your starting shortstop?
I'd like to point out the difference that we're experiencing now versus in the past. Our should be rookie of the year. Our MVP caliber player, our star positional player is out. He's going to miss the start of the season. And instead, we have to depend on a guy like Jackson Holliday to play shortstop.
Yeah. A former number one prospect.
When you fall back to Jackson Holliday playing short on opening day, that's a pretty okay place to be.
Yeah, like I said, let's get this straight. Jackson Holliday is certainly not a slouch, shortstop. He is not. We'll get to it in a second, maybe, but he's not a Levon Soto. Is the best way to put it. I think we're still scarred from last year with Jackson Holliday. It's the standpoint of like we saw what Jackson Holliday did. We should also say we saw what Jackson Holliday didn't do. We saw the defensive miscues. We saw the game, in essence, eat him up and chew him out. And it's a big year for Jackson Holliday for kind of a redemption basis. And maybe going to shortstop to start the season is a way for him to, in essence, feel comfortable and step into his own on that basis.
I think there are two reasons that Jackson Holliday will not disappoint us defensively this season. Those two reasons are J.J. Hardy and Brian Roberts. It's angels in the outfield, except they're alive. Sort of.
Does Tony Danza still have cancer?
He does not. He used to be Ryan Roberts. Anyway, what I'm saying is that, here's my real honest to God question.
Okay.
If Levon Soto is on the club because Jorge Mateo is hurt, this is the move. This is the move that makes sense. If Mateo makes the team, this is the same question that we just talked about with Westberg. Do you leave Jackson Holliday at second base because that's the position he's going to have to own?
I think so.
And play Mateo?
Yes, I think you do.
I think so too.
I think you do. And again, there's a lot of issues with Jorge Mateo, mainly getting on base. But yeah, I think you play Mateo for a week and just say, the only reason we have you on this roster is to play shortstop as a backup and to steal bases for us.
And we're all out of bubblegum.
If you cannot play shortstop as a backup and we don't feel comfortable with you playing shortstop as a backup, then what the heck are you doing on this roster?
Yeah, 1,000%. But if he's not ready, if Mateo is not ready,
yeah,
I'm fine with Jackson Holliday playing short for a short period of time.
I think the arm strength is the only question I have. And again, I think it'll be really interesting to see. I think we saw this with Gunnar when he first came up too. How's the timing? When he gathers up the ball, he throws it. How is his timing on that basis? And I think we're going to see a few moments where we're like, Gunnar would have had that. Just from a timing standpoint or going deep into the hole. I think overall, though, he'll be okay. Yeah. I think there'll be, I'm going to say there's going to be 2 moments during this J series, in this 4-game series, that we're going to be like, I really wish Gunnar was playing shortstop.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right, let me go to my last surprise, my last roster surprise. Relievers from the Wayback Machine.
Okay.
We are talking actively about Brian Baker. How do you feel about that? You seem to have opinions.
All right. So, all right. So I'm going to get into this. God almighty. So I'm on the Verge Discord, and everyone on the Verge Discord, I love you guys, but there's a lot of folks out there that are like, hey, Brian Baker's changeup is much better right now, and that's going to allow him to thrive, and he's going to be a better player. No, he's not going to be a better player. He's going to throw meatballs. He's going to give up home runs. A new changeup is not going to reinvent Brian Baker into this new individual. He's still going to throw meatballs. So
Baker with a chance of meatballs?
Baker with a chance of meatballs. That's going to be the episode title. I guarantee it. I hope I'm wrong. Like, I hope that the folks at The Verge and the folks that are watching in this standpoint are like, you don't know what you're talking about, Scott. Like, he's got something together. And maybe Brian Baker proves me wrong and he's this year's Keegan Aiken from last year. I just don't see it. Like, I don't see it whatsoever. Yes, he had a good start to spring training. And then the last few outings, it was long ball central.
I want Brian Baker to be good. I want it in my soul. I want it in my bones. I just don't believe it.
I don't believe it.
But here's what I do.
I don't hate the guy. I don't believe he can be a good Major League Baseball player.
I'm with you. He won me over with the happy talk against the Jays. Like, yeah. I want that to work so bad.
Seems like a nice guy. Gives good interviews. I got nothing against him. He's just not a Major League Baseball pitcher.
Here's what I think.
Okay.
I think that just to prove us wrong, just to prove you wrong, to make you look bad.
I'm good with that.
I think that Brian Baker is going to somehow pass through waivers, stick with the organization. And I think Brian Baker is going to come up for 2 weeks, maybe 3, and he's going to be 2025 Chaz Rowe. I think Brian Baker is going to be the best reliever in baseball for like 18 days and then fall off the cliff.
It's
if
possible.
For no other reason.
Just to spite me.
Then to spite you, to make us eat our words on this show, and then to be gone.
That's fine.
That is what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, it's fine. So Brian Baker's up in Toronto right now. It looks like he's going to make the roster.
That is so wild.
But Matt Bowman is also now on the 40-man roster.
I'm sorry, who?
Matt Bowman. New Paul Fry.
51. Got it.
New Paul Fry. They put him on the 40-man roster, but he doesn't have a locker in Toronto. So I'm assuming they're going to try to pass him through waivers.
I didn't even know his name, so I think he's going to pass.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think he'll pass through waivers, but once again, a little bit of a weird move. Like, that's the roster manipulation that you're trying to accomplish here.
Here's how little I think of Matt Bowman. I don't think he's going to be Chaz Rowe.
Okay. Poor Matt Bowman. All right, let's go to second base and talk about more maybe happier things.
Scotty, how do you solve a problem like Heston Kjerstad? All of the roster prognostication has a line somewhere. I think if you write about the Orioles, you are required legally to have a line in there about Heston Kjerstad that says they want to give him a lot of at-bats in 2025, but the question is, where could you possibly put him?
Mhm.
And so I want to talk about this. Heston Kjerstad can get a lot of playing time
Mhm.
if
If
one of these following things happens.
sure,
If he can supplant Ryan O'Hearn as the regular lefty DH.
I don't think that'll happen at the very beginning of the season, but that's possible.
Okay. If Mullins has significantly reduced playing time and a spot in the corner is open because Cowser is playing center.
I think that's highly likely.
If Heston Kjerstad can find the ability to play a meaningful backup first base.
I think there's a better chance of Brian Baker being the Cy Young this year.
If an injury takes out an outfielder.
I think that's always possible. Just like we said, injuries find their way to get people playing time.
I love with a capital E. I love Ryan O'Hearn.
Mhm.
I cannot imagine that he is going to be the spark plug in the lineup that he was for the Orioles when he first arrived.
Mhm.
And I think that is probably Heston Kjerstad's avenue into the lineup.
I agree. I think that's the most likely point where Ryan O'Hearn has done a great job. I mean, his exit velocity and his hard hit ball at the beginning of last season was absolutely amazing, but then he tailed off that second half of the season. It'll be interesting to see Ryan O'Hearn does. I think he'll bounce back in, but the question is, when Ryan O'Hearn starts to struggle, and I'm not saying for a week, I'm talking about 2 or 3 weeks, at what point do the Orioles just say, it was a good run, but we have to move on?
I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah. And then the question also is, like, if that happens, who is your backup first baseman? On that basis that, you can pull up if Mountcastle gets hurt.
You're not going to like this answer.
Emmanuel Rivera?
Ramon Urias.
I don't like that answer.
I didn't think you would.
Yeah, I don't like that answer. But yeah, like I said, I think this first week is going to be a really interesting week for Heston Kjerstad. I mean, we don't go against a lefty until the second game of the Boston series. So you have 5 games in a row where you're battling a righty. You would think on that basis that Heston Kjerstad should get some plate appearances. However, it's Toronto and you've got O'Hearn. So are we going to see Mountcastle and O'Hearn in the lineup both together?
I don't know what they're going to do. I know for a fact that Ryan Mountcastle is going to play every game. He's going to play every inning of every game. He's going to get every at-bat and then some that they can give him in Toronto.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with O'Hearn and Kjerstad. I really do feel like, they want him in the lineup.
Uh-huh.
They just have to figure out how to get him those at-bats. And look, we haven't really discussed the fact that I want Cedric Mullins to be incredibly effective.
Yeah.
I'm also not confident about Cedric Mullins being incredibly effective. And I don't know that there isn't a time this year and certainly next year that Colton Cowser doesn't become the center fielder for the Baltimore Orioles.
Sure. I think that's possible. I mean, yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens on that basis. But yeah, like I said, I think this first week with Heston Kjerstad is really going to shed to light how ready Heston Kjerstad is to, in essence, see significant plate appearances or not. I think even the Tyler O'Neill question is going to be really interesting to be like, how does he platoon with Tyler O'Neill in right field?
I think for the money that they spent for Tyler O'Neill and for how much they trust him in the field, because remember, this dude won multiple Gold Gloves. I think O'Neill's an everyday
I
bat.
think O'Neill's an everyday at bat. I think this is going to be interesting. Like, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they do O'Neill. Is it an everyday occurrence?
I think Brandon Hyde thinks that O'Neill's an everyday at bat.
Okay. I'm not, and I don't disagree with that. Don't get me wrong about this. I just think it's going to be really interesting to see what the Orioles decide on this basis with Heston Kjerstad. Again, if you look at O'Neill, you theoretically only have him on a 1-year deal, but you potentially could have him out to 3 years. But if he has a really good year this year, he's opting out.
Right.
But I mean, it's 20. Kjerstad's 26. Like, time is kind of catching up. Is the best way to describe it. Like, you have to eventually start hitting.
Well, there's a last piece.
Okay.
If you're happy with Ryan O'Hearn,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're happy with Cedric Mullins,
Clap your hands.
and you're having a hard time finding regular playing time for Heston Kjerstad,
Oh, you're going to say the trade thing, aren't you?
that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not against it. I guess the question really is, who is out there that is really going to say, yes, I'm willing to take Heston Kjerstad as a 26-year-old outfielder that I have to, in essence, teach to play the field, and he still gets to accompany with Major League Baseball talent. However, I'm not arguing with you on this basis. If you pair him with someone like Kobe Mayo and say, we're going to offer Kobe Mayo, Heston Kjerstad, theoretically, you should get a really good return on that basis.
I'm hoping he hits. I'm hoping he mashes for the Orioles.
I hope so, too.
I hope that he's a roster problem
I hope so.
for the Orioles.
Yeah, like I said, I'll be really interested to see how they play him. Let's go to third base. We've got new sights and sounds around Camden Yards going into the 2025 season. We've got the wall.
Baltimore?
Yeah.
All right.
Or as Mike Elias says, why did we build the wall?
So you got new dimensions.
Yeah.
But you got lots of other new stuff going on.
Yeah.
You've got an expanded bird bath.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I'm fine with that.
People were having a hard time getting in.
Yeah, 2 sections now.
Yeah.
Great.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's also going to be a kids home run porch.
Yeah.
I think this is great.
I think this is an awesome idea. I think it's a cool idea. When I looked at it, I'm like, all right, that makes a ton of sense. Like, the stand is a little bit lower than the wall. Like, kids can go down there. They can kind of squat. Again, we're talking about, other individuals like Cena Perez and stuff like that, catching balls in the bullpen. Same standpoint there. Like, you're going to see Orioles kids on MLB.com and everything like that, catching a ball around the left field fence. I think it's going to be a cool experience. And I think it's a way to differentiate, once again, the ballpark from any other ballpark.
Who's going to be more excited? The kids who are escorted by their parents or the parents who are escorting a kid?
I think it depends on the kid. But I would say in most instances, I think the kid is going to be more excited.
Okay.
How old is your kid?
14. Youngest is 14, oldest is 17.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it's true.
That's a shame.
All right, fine. You let me know how the porch is.
I'll let you know how the porch is with the 12-year-old who literally is now going out to baseball fields every night and hitting a ball. And
Also, they're not going to card him.
my son or your son?
Yours.
Oh, yeah. But they might card him and be like, why is this 5'9" kid going down to the field as a 12-year-old? Be like, no, seriously, he is a 12-year-old. I'll pull up his middle school package and show it to you. But yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. So there's that going on. There's a new temporary sound system before a permanent one has been put into place.
What do we think about this?
I think it's good. I think it's fine. I think it's just like a concert series. Like, I let's see what it sounds like on opening day. But I think it's a good thing.
A new temporary sound system.
I think it's fine.
Why don't we have a new sound system?
Because you got to run wires and everything on that basis.
How long have they known they've had to do it? At least 5 seasons.
Yeah, but these things come out of the blue.
Fine.
It'll be okay. It's not going to be great.
It'll be better, and it better be better.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if Paul McCartney comes back, we might actually be able to hear him this time.
That was a great concert. It was life-changing. and also shut up.
I will say that, coming back to I'm disappointed that the concert series is not continuing on.
Yeah.
Like that looks like something that is going to end. And as much as I've got issues with the Angeles family, the concert series standpoint was a cool event. And even doing like the Birdland Summer Series where they had concerts on the field is something that I will miss out on. So I hope that is something that maybe the Orioles look back at, especially with the new sound system that they're putting in and saying, is there a way for us to bring this back in another modus operandi?
First, I think Katie Griggs will figure this out.
I think you're right.
And second, once the new sound system is in place, I absolutely think it's back.
Yeah.
It's too much of a money-making opportunity.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think the requirements of concerts is going to go into the new sound system.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's talk apparel.
I'm listening.
The Orioles announced that for home Saturday games, that there is going to be an orange out. So they're asking folks to wear orange, deck out in orange. They'll be selling orange items through the concourse, and they're really going to be exemplifying it orange on these Saturdays. Jake, they're also going to be wearing their all orange outfits as well.
I don't know that they're going to do that for every Orange Out Saturday. They're going to do it 5 or 6 times.
Oh, I thought they were going to do it for every Saturday.
They have said 5 or 6 times. I think it depends on how badly they get panned.
Okay.
As far as whether or not they do it for all.
Okay, gotcha.
Also, I'll bet you it depends on how many games they win early.
That's a good point. So let's ask you this. You, during the history of the show, have been really agitated about the Orioles long time. In essence, de-emphasizing the orange.
I am a fan of the color orange. It is garishly beautiful. It is the distinguishing feature of our team's identity. And for the longest time, the Orioles tried to downplay it. It was black and white with a hint of orange.
Oh, we got forest green in there too.
Yeah.
Green was a big one. Like they started emphasizing green a lot.
They wore gray hats in the 90s. Like, orange.
Yeah.
Your team is orange.
Yeah.
And
this is your identity. It's black and orange.
And here we are. Orange outs for this season Saturdays. I am so here for this. I'm incredibly excited. I
think it's a great move. I think it's a great way to sell merchandise as well. But I think it's a great move, and I completely agree. Like, fall into it and enjoy the orange.
Okay. I'm glad you said this is a great way to sell merchandise.
Yeah.
Because it's not. Hang on a sec. I'm going to grab my soapbox.
Okay.
I'm going to leap up on top of it.
Okay.
I suffered a loss recently, Scott.
Oh, you're talking about your orange outfit.
I lost my 2009 orange Orioles spring training jersey.
First of all, that was not orange. It was creamsicle. But
it was like Tequila Sunrise.
Tequila Sunrise.
It was orange at the bottom and it was orange underneath.
Yeah.
But the sun had not been kind to it.
Yeah.
It literally the Orioles script across the front in black fell apart.
Yeah. Literally peeled off.
My wife said you have to get rid of this. So I got rid of it and she said, but you can replace it with another orange jersey. And I was like, yes, great. It is so hard to buy an orange Orioles jersey.
It's nearly impossible.
It is really, really difficult. Even if you go to the store,
it is almost never there.
You have to custom order it at the store.
Yeah,
at the Orioles store on the property.
Correct. It's always white jerseys, and occasionally they'll do a black jersey, and then there's never orange jerseys.
I cannot.
You can find jerseys sometimes.
I cannot get over the fact that the Orioles make it so difficult to buy an alternate orange jersey.
Well, maybe this year will be different on that basis. Maybe they've, in essence, learned their lesson and said, hey, a white jersey or a black jersey really doesn't distinguish. We're really going to go into this orange standpoint to really create a brand identity going forward.
I certainly hope so. Orioles, I bought a generic, non-numbered Orioles orange jersey at Dick's Sporting Goods because that's what I could find.
Ew.
Shame on you, Baltimore Orioles. Shame. Yeah. Fix it. Yeah, no, I'm super excited about Orange Out Saturdays. Also at the ballpark, we've talked about this.
The live action hot dogs.
There's going to be hot dogs. There's also going to be lots of new local food options.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't get excited about Ekman, you are at Ekman?
No.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, I've heard the buzz. So now
do you like fried chicken?
Do I like like fried chicken. Of course I
Oh,
do.
we need to go to Ekabin. Like,
All
you've
right.
never been to Ekabin? Oh.
Where is it?
So Ekabin is in
I mean, I know it's a Camden Yards.
East
now.
Baltimore. Almost like it's pretty close to Little Havana. Not Little Havana. Yeah, look, it's close to Little Havana. Like, if you've been there. You've been to Little Havana?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's close to there.
Okay.
So, like, between Little Havana and Fort McHenry, like over that way.
Okay. All right.
It's yummy.
I'm-
It is like bee's knees, like awesome food.
I believe you. I do think it's cool that the Orioles have clearly invested in like local options.
Yeah.
That's
no,
great.
I think it's great. Like I said, I actually didn't get a chance to do Ekabin last year at the stadium. I really wanted to, but it was never there the nights that I wanted to go. I literally checked every single game. Ekabin is amazing. So I cannot wait to see what the lines look like for Ekabin. It is baller. If you don't know Ekabin, I don't know what to tell you. So we're going to try Ekabin. And if you've never had it, you're going to love it. And then Atman's Deli is there.
Sure.
That's cool. That's great.
There's
yeah.
like a whole list of
There's a whole list of other aspects as well.
That's great.
There's like a Baltimore gelato stand that they're going to have as well. But Ekabin is leaps and bounds above this aspect as well.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Excited. All right. So the more things change, because those are all the changes.
Yep.
The more things stay the same.
Yep.
I'm delighted that fans can still bring outside food to the ballpark.
Cool.
Not only do I take advantage of that, but it's a great thing.
We didn't talk about this on the previous one, but huge win for this one too. $4 refillable sodas.
Yeah. There's a whole meal of like affordable
I
food.
realize that. Like, I know there's the value
Giant
meal.
menu.
The value meal's cool. $4 refillable sodas is massive. $4 refillable sodas of Coca-Cola products, massive. Like,
Yeah.
hot summer day, July, August, when it's 100 degrees. Like, I don't want to be drinking beer the whole time. Like, I want to be able to get home. So $4 refillable sodas? Heck yes. As an avid Coca-Cola head? Heck yes.
Okay. First of all, hot day at Camden Yards. I don't want to go home.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's a whole litany of they have heard the ballpark is not affordable
Yep.
for families, and
You
they've
got
done
options.
this.
You got options.
So,
But you can bring outside food too. And
Yeah.
again, that's a great option as well, especially in an economy that, is struggling with affordability.
right. And listen, I'm not bootlicking here. I'm not. But if you look at the Orioles' effort
Mhm.
to make options at the ballpark more affordable, to allow you to bring in your own food, they are trying.
You can make it work. I mean, it's a standpoint of like, if you want to, most upper deck games, because again, we're going to be in the upper deck again for another year. Most games are $15 to $18. Most games, not all games, but most games are $15 to $18.
So here's my question: do kids still cheer free?
I think so.
It'll be interesting to see if that program exists and how long it survives.
I wonder I wonder how often it's being utilized. It would be my first question. Like,
a prepared podcast would have done the research.
we should reach out to the Baltimore Orioles on this standpoint and see if they get back to us.
I'm going to write that down, like I'm going to remember to do it. For that. Okay. Listen, while we talk about the more things stay the same, the Orioles video features that they release are still frequent and fun.
Yeah.
Look, it's a win. They're winning more frequently on the field. I think that the entertainment that they provide from a video standpoint, like on their channel, on YouTube or whatever, high quality.
Yeah.
Enough to keep the rabid fan.
The Jackson Holiday documentary was a little.
Okay, I did not watch that one.
It was a little Chardonnay.
I did not watch that one. But dude, the chill.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Hilarious. And whatever they're calling it, this you're taking flight. It's not the next chapter. Whatever the next chapter is.
Yeah.
Good on them.
Yeah.
I do applaud that for rabid fans who want to watch Orioles related content that are waiting for it. They're doing a good job. Good on you. But here's another thing that has stayed the same.
Mhm.
Orioles ownership is still stating, regardless of the fact that it is different ownership, that spending money does not guarantee a World Series. David Rubenstein,
Yep.
a man who owns Magna Carta,
Yeah.
when asked about the limits of payroll, said, to his credit, said, "Hey, there is no firm cap. We don't have a cap on our payroll, but spending money does not guarantee you to win a World Series." And here's my thing, David. The Barons may have written in the margins of Magna Carta that spending money doesn't hurt your chances.
Correct. Yeah, it's the same thing in private equity. It's like, hey, David, like spending money doesn't guarantee that you're going to get that investment from a private equity standpoint. But putting the right seed money puts you in a really good position eventually to buy out the company.
Doesn't hurt you.
Yeah.
All I can say is that when it comes to spending money on baseball players and maybe a few other things, like famous American writers, David Rubenstein, when it comes to the Yankees, the Red Sox, he doesn't like bullies. And so, hey, I'd love to hear what we missed. Come find us on all the socials. Let us know what were the new sights and sounds that you're looking forward to this season. We're going to head into home plate. And I want to talk about, Scotty, the things that we should be looking forward to this season. We usually talk about opening day in this spot in the calendar. But look, we're 14 years in.
Yep. 14th season.
People know what we do, right? They know all about the baseball beer. They know about the fact that we go to Iron Rooster every year, except for when you get called in for
this year.
They know all the idiosyncrasies of our day. Instead, I want to take a look ahead to the Orioles schedule and, look at some things that maybe we should be looking out for. I am really looking forward to the opening series in Toronto. I think there are a lot of cool storylines there. Obviously, you've got Santander that's going to be a storyline.
Yep.
Mountcastle is going to be a storyline. I really want to see Sagano on the mound for the first time. I have been, maybe more so this season in 2025 than ever before, in need of Orioles baseball in my life in a big way for my mental health.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of us out there that need a little reprieve from reality for a little bit.
That first series in Toronto can't come soon enough. But that's not all there is. Let's look ahead, Scotty.
Yeah. Also, really weird to start a season with a 4-game series.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's in a dome.
It's in a dome, but it's still interesting. I think there's also one other thing that's going to be interesting in that Toronto series, but we'll get to that.
Don't get ahead of me.
Yeah.
Don't get ahead of me.
We're going to get to that.
Next, we've got our first chance for some payback against the Royals when we go to Kansas City on April 4th. And then they come back here for the 2nd through 4th of May. It's personal.
We said that last October.
No. 2014 hurt. Last year hurt. I know that they are not an in-division rival. I know that they are not going to always be a good team. When it comes to Kansas City, it has become personal for me.
That's fine.
We are of the age, Scott, where Kansas City has become personal. And not just in this sport.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing on the aspect of, Kansas City seems like a rival right now, whether it be in baseball or football at this point. We'll see if we get payback.
It's too early to be negative.
Missing Gunner for that series would be a big deal.
Scotty, we're not going to need him.
I hope we get Gunner back for that series.
No, we're not going to need him. We're going to put our throats so firmly on, or our boots so firmly on their throats, we're not going to need them.
Okay.
Let's look a little further ahead. April 11th.
Okay.
The Blue Jays come into town.
Okay.
At Camden Yards. It is the opportunity for so many things, but I want to be there in person. I want to be there in person for the first at bat that Anthony Santander plays at Camden Yards as a member of the Blue Jays. And Birdland, I swear, you owe it to this man.
Oh, totally.
To warmly greet him.
Yeah. I think he'll get a really warm ovation.
I need you to extract tears from Santander and from the fan next to you.
Yeah.
This is big. I'm looking forward to him coming back. I want him to have a great game and a loss.
Yeah. I don't think it's big, but I think it's due is the best way to put it. So good for him. And then we've got a 3-game series at and versus the Nationals, both the 22nd.
2-game series. A
three-game series, yeah. April 22nd through the 24th and May 16th through the 18th. As much as people want to make this a rivalry, this is not a rivalry. But more importantly, it's the official end of the Masson Cup.
Oh my goodness. Wow. What is Jabby going to do?
I don't know.
We have to pull
How
the
many
numbers.
royalties do you think he? Well, I think no, even if the Orioles lose every single game,
They can't lose the cup.
they can't lose the cup.
Wow. You know what? I'm going to get a hold of Josh Finver, my college roommate,
Yeah.
a noted Washington sports fan.
Yeah.
We're going to have to watch that last game together.
Yeah.
And exchange an actual Madison Cup.
All right.
I like this. The Orioles go back to the minors this season. There are 2 series in which the Orioles will go back to the minors. They will play in a minor league park in June 6th through 8th at Sacramento against the Oakland Vegas Athletics.
Yeah.
And they will go to the in June 16th through, I guess, the 20th at Orlando, Tampa against the Rays in the Yankees minor league facility. I think it would be hilarious to go in person and watch the team play in a minor league park.
Oh, I guarantee you that June 16th series against the Rays, it is going to be an Orioles sellout. Like, there is going to be so many Orioles fans in that 8,000 seat stadium. It's going to be like 6,000 Orioles fans, and scarcely. I mean, the Rays haven't even sold out opening day for that stadium. Can you think about that? Like, you can't sell at opening day to a minor league stadium.
Listen, I know
that is really, really bad.
They haven't sold out opening day this year.
Yes.
Woof.
For their minor league stadium. Like, that is really, really bad. And look, this is not on the fan base whatsoever.
No.
Let me get this straight. Like,
the whole stadium situation with Tampa has never been the fans' fault.
Right. This is not the fans' fault for not going and supporting that team. This is all about, again, jockeying around by an ownership group, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, the stadium is easier to get to, this minor league stadium, but you have not created any sense of goodwill with the fan base. And if we as Orioles fans were going through the same thing, and Peter Angelos was still, or any of the Angelos were still the owner, we might be in a similar boat of being like, frick that. Like, I'm not going to go to a game.
Tampa is not anybody's fault, right? A hurricane is not anybody's fault. It is absurd that the Athletics are playing in Sacramento. That is a absolute shame on Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
My question is, why are these games not taking place in a city that desperately wants baseball while they wait? Montreal should be the home of one of these teams for as long as it takes for their stadium situation to get figured out. This should be an opportunity for Major League Baseball to try and buy expansion experiences.
Yeah, I just don't know if any stadiums are like ready to go. Like, Montreal's probably potentially do it, but like, if you think about it, like, Montreal probably couldn't do a full season.
Tampa came by surprise.
Yeah.
Oakland did not.
Yeah, you're right. It's a bad situation all around for the Athletics and for the Rays. And Major League Baseball is to blame for it. Let's just get it right. Like, Major League Baseball is to blame for this. And them not coming down harder on ownership groups for making these decisions, they're completely to blame for this. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, what a crappy situation.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's get back to the schedule. The All-Star break is in such a place that I would expect if I was a betting person.
Yep.
And the Bird's Eye View official sportsbook is Jake Doesn't Bet. The bevies to come out on Thursday, July 17th.
That looks correct. We've got a lot of work to do for that because I'll be gone the 11th through the 18th. But
jeez, Scotty, you're killing me.
Yeah, I'll be in Aruba, so like literally.
Oh, well, at least you're not traveling to Jersey.
No.
If it's for a good cause,
it'll be in crystal blue aquamarine water at Eagle Beach. So
jerk.
Yeah.
All right. The Dodgers come into town September 5th through 7th. That is a great opportunity to see some fantastic players.
It's going to be a huge series from an attendance standpoint. Going to be some great performances from Ohtani, but honestly, the entire Dodgers team is an amazing team. great chance to listen to Jim Palmer talk about the series, talk about 66. That's going to be a really fun series, like a really fun series. First week back at school for most of us. That's going to be a really fun series.
And I'm hoping it is a October preview.
That'd be awesome if that's the case. That'd be awesome. And then we've got some away game destination opportunities. We've got away games at Wrigley. Highly recommend. Some people don't like Wrigley. I found Wrigley to be amazing. Oracle Park, again, very cool stadium.
That's on my short list. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it to anybody. We go to Petco this year. Hate to say it. I think Petco might be better than Camden Yards.
You're wrong, but okay.
Petco's really nice. Any sleepers besides those?
I mean, you're not going to want to hear it. Fenway. All
terrible.
day, every day.
Absolutely terrible stadium.
I went there I went to Boston for the weekend of my birthday for terrible reasons. But
Trash.
Was there and reminded myself of what a great experience it is to go up to Boston and watch the Orioles play at at Fenway, particularly when they win. The Orioles are going to be good this year.
Yeah.
Spread your wings, throw your weight around, go to Fenway. It is a good time.
Okay. And then the other thing that's weird this year is we have a ton of weekday afternoon games.
Okay, so it's not just me.
No, there's a ton.
There are more than usual.
Absolutely.
Every season I say to myself, I'm going to do a businessman special this year, but I'm going to do it. And I like to hoard PTO, so I never do it. But it's like every Thursday this season is
all the getaway games are basically like 1 o'clock or 12:35 games. So on that basis of opening day, if I cannot go to opening day on Monday or Tuesday, I've been looking at this Thursday game at 1:05 and saying that may become my opening day. And I might sit down in the stands with some fellow seniors.
It is senior day.
And, make some company with, someone, maybe pull out a Werther's Original from someone's pocket and suck on it like a pearl from a clam, basically. Or so, pearl from an oyster.
Oyster. I do have to make two warnings.
Sure.
As a former camp counselor.
Yeah.
Do not look for a businessman special on Thursday, May 15th.
Yeah.
That is field trip day.
Field trip day with all the schools.
Or Wednesday, July 30th.
Yeah.
12:35 against Toronto. That is day camp day. And listen, having gone to day camp day.
Yeah.
And having loved it as a day camp experience, as a regular fan.
No.
Go another day.
Yeah, go another day. But yeah, I think that's going to be interesting to see how well those days do. I will say that last year for a lot of those businessman specials, they did have some really good attendance numbers. So you wouldn't think that normally, but I'm wondering if people are kind of sneaking out and saying, let's make a day out of it.
Winning cures all.
That's true. All right. I think that's basically it for the season at large.
Scotty, I'm going to miss you dearly on opening day.
You're going to be fine without me. But you know what time it really is right now on that basis? It's time to find out who's the boss.
I don't understand this music.
Jake, this is the time for Fantasy Balls that I won last season for the first time in 14 seasons.
Wait a minute, you won Fantasy Balls for the season?
Yeah, I think there were other seasons that I was in the lead, but I wanted to make it close, and then you kind of swooped in at the very end and won them. But
I think it's accurate to say that you won last season fair and square, which is unlike how I won.
No. Well, yes and no. I mean, again, I said before when I started last season, I said, I'm going to treat Fantasy Balls this year like Jake English, which is I'm going to apply no logic to the situation. I'm not going to look at the numbers, and I'm just going to pick random names out of my head and just see what happens.
And how did that work for you?
It worked great. I mean, it was a dominating performance, basically.
Listen, a lack of insight and baseless opinion will last you for 14 years.
Absolutely. So yeah, I've won. So you get to pick the category to start us off for the 2025 fantasy ball season.
Listen, I fully acknowledge that nobody is listening, but if you are a new listener, let me just lay out what this fantasy boss thing is. Every week of the season, Scott and I will choose a category, a fantasy baseball category, or just something.
Mhm.
The loser of the previous week picks the category. The winner of the previous week gets the opportunity to answer first. Each of us will pick, something, and then whoever wins that week is the fantasy boss of the week. Scott's got music. I've got music. You'll know who won last week based on the music. And so, Scotty, my fantasy boss, again, we usually pick statistics.
Yep.
Back in the old days, in the good old days, you spent a lot of time educating a lot of Birdland about
advanced metrics.
Yeah. That was really a hallmark of early Bird's Eye View. Now those are frankly on the broadcast.
Correct.
And so we have shuttered the Department of Statistical Education.
For now.
So my first fantasy boss category is this. It's an easy over under.
Sure.
The Orioles are going to go to Toronto for a 4-game series. In each of those 4 games, I guarantee Anthony Santander will play.
Yep.
He will get at least 3 at-bats in each of those games.
Yep.
But I'm not worried about his first at-bat.
Sure.
I'm not worried about his second at-bat. I'm worried about his final at-bat. Because, Scott, my over-under for the Toronto series is 0.5 on walk-off Anthony Santander home runs.
Okay. The heaviest of overs of all time.
You have to. I'm giving you this week.
Yeah, the heaviest of overs.
You have to take the over on that.
I would almost be willing to double down and be like, I'm calling 2 walk-offs and I'm on double points.
You would take 1.5?
I may take 1.5, but I'm going to take the 0.5 as a gift and just say, it's going to happen. Brace yourself for it. It's probably going to happen on opening day. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. And I don't want it to happen, but I know it's going to happen.
Let me ask you this question. Which image will haunt you more? The video of Anthony Santander hitting the home run or the Joey Bautista playoffs home run?
Oh, that was Edwin Encarnacion with a Ubaldo home run. But it's definitely the Ubaldo home run with Encarnacion with the parrot. See, I thought the category that you were going to pick this week was going to be dongs, and I was going to pick Anthony Santander as my fantasy boss pick for the week.
It's bold, but I would have allowed it. So we are back. We are back to Bird's Eye View, ladies and gentlemen. Scotty has picked the over for 0.5. So next week we will find out who owns it.
We did a point of order, tiebreaker.
Oh no!
I want.
We're already doing wild cards.
We're already doing wild cards. We're throwing a wild card out there because we haven't done it so far in this episode. Win total for the season. We have not gotten into win total yet. So everyone's doing it. Everyone's picking their win totals. What's your win total and what's your quick prediction? Let's not go too much because there are certain podcasts out there that are doing bold predictions the whole episode. No, we're not doing that. We're going to do a quick. This is what I'm feeling.
I'm not even going to say 100 wins.
Yes.
Or 100 losses. Rather.
I've got to say, in 2012, Jake and I sat here and basically predicted 100 losses for the Baltimore Orioles in 2012. They promptly made us look both dumb. And it was a great season.
Isn't the number 87? Isn't that what's been bandied about?
Yes, I think like if you go to your betting groups that are promoted by Major League Baseball every 6 seconds, I think it's 87.5 is the number right now.
No BS. My number is 90.
Okay,
my number is 90. Wild card 2 position.
Okay, cool. My number is 95. AL East champion, and I think they get to the ALCS, but fall just slightly short.
You are so excited about Gibbons being back.
I'm so excited. Here's the thing. I think it comes back to the point that you made earlier. I do think that we're going to get to some point in this season where Mayo and Kjerstad are traded for someone that is out there, probably from the Marlins, like a Sandy Alcantara. And I think, that's going to be a huge boon for the organization. Just having someone under control for multiple years. And I think it really spurs the Orioles on. Look, I think the Orioles are going to be a good team this year. Let's just get it out of the way. Like, the Orioles are going to be a good team. They're going to be fighting for a playoff spot. If they're not going to be a 95 win team, they're going to be right there at battling for a wild card spot, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 on that basis. And ultimately, it's going to come down to what we said last year. It's going to come down to October, and we're going to see what happens in October, whether they are able to thrive in October. For 2 years, they have not been able to thrive in October. You have to hope one day they can win a playoff game once again.
And I've been so cranky in the offseason that the Orioles haven't done more to assure greatness.
Mhm.
But the thing is that as frustrated as I am about that, because I think this team has the opportunity to be truly great,
You are one move away.
I think that their floor is the Hall of very, very good.
But again, you're one move away from being maybe not at the Dodgers level, but being one of the top 3 big teams in baseball.
Sure.
You're one move away. And I think Elias makes that move. He was very active during the trade deadline last year. I think it's going to happen. So I'm bullish. If I had to put down an order, I think the Red Sox are going to top the Yankees as well. But we'll see what happens.
Yikes. All right. Well,
We'll see what happens.
who will own it?
Who will own it? That'll be our tiebreaker. Whoever gets closer on that basis, if we're neck and neck at the end of the year, maybe that'll be our tiebreaker. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and blow the save and see what's going on else in Birdland.
Scott, that was a pretty good lead in to my blowing the save. I spent this offseason being super frustrated with our Baltimore Orioles.
Oops.
I'm so worried.
You should be.
I've been so worried for so long that they're going to blow this. That they're going to blow this, their best chance
Mhm.
at a World Series in my lifetime. Well, in my lifetime out of diapers the first time.
Yeah, of cognizant recognition.
I'm terrified that we'll look back at this period where we have Gunnar, where we have Adley, where we have Holiday, where we just go down the line, and we'll look at it as this nice little blip, right? The same way that we look at the Buckle Up Birds era.
Sure.
But it's possible. It's just possible that I need to take a step back and look at the full picture of being a Baltimore sports fan. The Orioles are one of the best teams in baseball.
Say it again.
The Orioles are one of the best teams in baseball.
Say it one more time.
Kyle Gibson is here. The Orioles are one of the best teams in baseball. At least I didn't say Brian Baker.
As long as Gunnar Henderson comes back relatively soon.
The Orioles are one of the best teams in baseball. And despite the fact that they keep suffering devastating
Oh,
in the playoffs, I am able to watch a really talented team of homegrown stars and watch incredible baseball on a daily basis. Scott, the team that you and I love is no longer the butt of jokes. The team that you and I love is no longer a punching bag. They are the ones doing the punching. The Orioles are one of the best teams in baseball in 2025. Beyond that, the Ravens. The Ravens have made the playoffs in 6 of the last 7 years. They have an MVP caliber quarterback who makes incredible, mind-altering plays on a regular basis, and they are in the midst of an extended window of contention. Maryland basketball, I'm a Terps fan.
Mhm.
Maryland basketball is super fun to watch these days. Both the men and the women are set to make I'll call it a deep run in the NCAA tournament because
deeper than we're used to in recent history.
that's what I'll call a
Yeah.
Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Even my alma mater, American University, won their mid-major conference, both the regular season title and conference tournament, earned their first NCAA tournament appearance since 2011. Life as a Baltimore sports fan is pretty good these days. And look, I don't know a whole lot of other things. Like, I don't know a whole lot about the NBA.
You're probably not having a good time if you're a 76ers or Wizards fan.
Yeah, I mean, if you've adopted either of those teams, not a great time. If your thing is hockey, You got a 50-50 shot. The Wizards are in last place, but the Capitals are doing a something Wayne Gretzky.
Goat something?
They're in first place.
Yeah.
My point is this. Maybe it's
We're
because
in first place. I didn't even know that.
not only are the Caps in first place, but the NHL has a metropolitan division
I knew that.
that is in a conference.
I knew that for trivia.
They have divisions with names inside conferences.
I knew that. I did not know they were in first. I knew they had like a lot of points. I think they had over 100 points. I'm like, oh, cool. Like they're doing well, but I did not know they were in first place.
Something.
Something.
My point is this. Maybe it's because opening day is tomorrow. Maybe it's because neither of the Terps teams have suffered a devastating loss in the Sweet 16 yet. But
maybe it's because the rest of the world is burning down.
Maybe it's because everything else is sadness. But I think that being a sports fan in the way that we do it right now is pretty good. And maybe I should stop and smell the roses. And I'm not used to saying that. Scott, hope springs eternal. Spring training is over, but I'm willing to continue to hope as long as I can. And that is our show. Remember, you can find this in our entire catalog of indispensable episodes at birdseyeviewbaltimore.com.
Bird's Eye View is available for download wherever it is you get your podcast. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcast, YouTube Music, Spotify, and many others. Please remember to rate and review the show. We appreciate the feedback and it encourages other people to listen for the first time.
Freedom of speech is precious, and it is not assured. But you can find us all over social media, and we encourage you to do the same. Hey, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, Threads, Snapchat, and, we managed to make it through the whole TikTok thing.
To date.
But we're settling in very nicely over at Orioles Blue Sky at Bird's Eye View, BAL. And with that, Baltimore and beyond, I'll bid you all a fond adieu.
Good night, Baltimore. Enjoy opening day. Be safe out there. And let's go O's. Always good to have the comfort of Orioles baseball back again.
You really rooting for rain?
Bring on Tuesday.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.